Welcome back to the channel, Kimyo and Space Cadets. It's the leader of the Cosmic Armada and librarian of KO.DE Archives with Nara, back to bring you another review. Today a huge milestone has been hit in Ordeal power scaling wise, and I can't wait to dissect it with you guys. If you find the video enjoyable or informative, consider subscribing to the channel with the bell enabled to not miss another review. Typically we will drop one video a week over here, but each review will have a like goal, so if we do hit the like goal on the review, I will be able to produce another topic video of your choosing. With that out of the way, let's talk about the title of episode 127. The title reveals the end results of the episode, however it runs in correlation with the episode of 121 titled Building Mover. Now, in episode 121 covers the initial confrontation between Shay and Jose. While flying through the city, we see the destruction that Shay is able to cause in his base form with and without a talent weapon being applied. We see him being able to cut through a building like paper with Venture, and while using his own flame topple them with similar effort. While Jose's damage output was a lot less than Shay in that episode, now in episode 127 he scaled so far high that he is now splitting the moon, meaning the scaling that I posed for the anointed form from last episode review could be somewhat accurate. Now let's recap the events of the episode. Dodging the beams of rebirth lost by self-proclaimed Gaki Jose, lower heart readies 3 Tomases in response. As they explode ferociously, obscuring Jose's vision, Shay launches himself towards the Phoenix of Rebirth. With little time to respond, Jose rushes forward frantically, clashing above the ghost city that was preemptively evacuated for this mission. Witnessing the battle between Shay and Jose is 7th Lord Reed Haven. Analyzing the battle Haven state, I can confirm this enemy has the same chi as a Gaki. Lord Heart is successfully overpowering him. You allowed this, Aldrich, but are you certain you can control what he's becoming? As Rolf states sadly, no, revealing a unique eye that was concealed behind his hair, as if going through every bad moment throughout his life at once. Haven exclaims, I have sacrificed enough. Witnessed far too many of my comrades bleed before me. I trust your confidence in him, but know this, I will do anything to protect my children, even if it involves facing a god tier. With unwavering conviction and determination, he analyzes every aspect of this new god tier, and plagued by the thoughts of seeing this happen throughout his life, Reed continues saying, no, you will not control him. Therefore, if Lord Heart becomes a danger to us all, I will shoot him down myself. I swear it. As Riot continues to be unmoved by the battle of monsters before him and infatuated with the Nintendo Vita, stating, ooh, sounds like a fight. Are we up, father? As Ross angrily interrupts, enough. Haven, we share the same fears. I know the boy will not fail us. Have faith in me as I do in him. Ironically witnessing Jose destroying multiple blocks as Shay disregards the very destruction being caused by his battle. As Aldrich, Ross continues, stand down. You are only to observe. I chose you because you look through the eyes of a father, and the fight has passed us and moved on to our sons. Clearing through the flames of Shay, Jose rushes through the Kimyo he has deemed worthy. Shay then shoots a concentrated blast of fire. Shay then moves so fast into Jose's blind spot that he's unable to track him through the smoke of Tomas. As Jose is completely helpless, Shay is flying in with a flaming slash so powerful that it severs the arms of Jose. Pain, Jose hovers his hand over the very wound, covering the void of stars that is his form internal workings. Bringing that void into the mortal plane in the form of a hand, Jose loses his cool completely, screaming, enough, slamming down a giant head of void, representing a weight of an unquantifiable amount of dead stars attempting to crush Shay. Braving the almighty Zahara, completely dispelling the weight, staring at his opponent from the sky at his useless effort as the debris slowly falls around Shay. We see Jose from the sky holding his room as the power he held in high regards fail him. He thinks begrudgingly, he's severing my stars before they can explode. Hiding those thoughts from his opponents while also losing control over his emotions, he said aloud, I have decided your fate. I will uproot everything standing proudly before me. Listen, boy, I will destroy this city and from its ashes create a cosmic realm worthy to be destroyed again. He readies a dead star to the heavens, stating and again until my anger is satiated. Thinking to himself brazenly, you won't be able to cut down these numbers, and then declares proudly aloud, and to those who remain, I'll be their new god. Filling the sky with the unquantifiable void of multiple dead stars, Mahalil begins to speak to his chosen Kimyo, stating, he grows desperate, Lord Heart. In his haste, he has become a fool. I am angered by his words, continuing with a tad bit of anger in his voice, stating, no mortal ought to claim to be a god. We shall end this now whilst your body can still maintain this form. It is time to perform it, my lord. We then shift back in time to KO.DE Outpost 27 during the Shay training arc, as we see Shay kneeling before the destruction he's caused, gripping his mote to the rod light. He rises as the rod is melded to the ground as Mahala appears at the destruction while also focused on the tool that was used as a medium to cause such destruction. He began stating, "So this is the rod you had the organization KODE make for you, a conductor. It will allow you to channel your flames for our greatest attack by focusing the impact on one point. You will have utter control over its devastation." As the heat from the attack begins to melt the rod, Mahalil exclaims, "Lord Heart, Lord Leo channeled my energy into physical form by creating weapons, but if you, young Lord, can somehow direct it, I can put all of my chi into it." I too wonder what we might create. However, one issue remains. This rod is already melting. Disappointed in the results of channeling his power into this medium, Shay states thousands of layers of heat-proof metals wrapped around the titanium core. It still can't stand more than 2 applications. He continues with, "The rod is a failure. For this attack to work, I need something that won't bend. I won't put Venture through it again. His handle didn't make it through our last attempt." Seeing his vessel saddened and angered, Mahalil poses perhaps a talent weapon is the correct route, my lord. Continuing by saying, "This body of yours has survived me while allowing Venture access to your chi. If it can survive a talent weapon so great, what's another?" Pondering this newfound possibility, Shay states, "A talent weapon strong enough to channel our flames at their hottest would carry a great amount of chi. I'll be winning a 3rd talent. Would his body allow it, Lord Mahalil?" Admiring the destruction from this mere rod attempt to tame the sun that is his power, as Mahalil answered, "Yes, there's room for more. Have you a specific one in mind, my lord?" As the debris began to rise toward the void, encapsulating the sky, and Shay tightening his grip on Zahara. Questioning the durability of his weapon, Mahalil states, "This is the moment you prepared for, and it is up to you. Execute it. We may have never done this before, but once we do, it will cost all of my chi, as well as this new form. Once my chi is gone, yours will be revealed. You have successfully hidden your chi behind mine for so long, but soon you may never be able to conceal its weight again." Mahalil continuing his statement with, "Chi's purpose is to strengthen its talent, but what does the body with the greatest chi pool do with all the energy and no talent? It pours it into survival. Lord Heart, all of your chi in your body, you can survive the combustion of my talent, as your body may very well be unbreakable." As the sky fills, beginning to grow even more of Jose's unquantifiable dead stars, attempting to destroy everything, including the nuclear weapons, in a blind rage, Mahalil discards him completely, focusing solely on Chase. "The chi you have been using up until this point has been my own, but that which you felt growing within you is your dormant chi from birth, the chi of Thanatos. Are you ready for the world to know it?" As Shay is completely focused, saying, "Yes," Mahalil states, "Very well. We must hurry. Your body can't maintain this form much longer, as it seems it is not accustomed to it." Symbolizing his Japanese roots, Shay uses a sheathing-like motion to represent his Japanese roots, almost symbolizing a iai jutsu, which is a quick sword strike, as Mahalil states. "And as we discussed, my lord, in regards to use of this attack, I only have one rule." As we peer over to Jose, wounded but convinced that this will be the end of the battle, stating, "I once thought KODE will never understand my grief, the pain of taking the life of your only son by accident." Continuing by saying, "But they seem to be sending boys like toys to their death pretty often. That is no mere accidente. You serve a monster more hideous than I, Ilios." With his statement falling on deaf ears, Shay begins to gather his chi. As it begins to surge, Mahalil states, "You can only use this attack once physically beneath your opponent. This attack kills those who claim to be God. Only when they exalt themselves do we ensure they will fall." Jose launches every possible dead star he can muster as Mahalil screams, "Now!" As Zahara surges and boosts its destined Kimyo, Shay screams towards the heavens. Ilios, peering at the flaming slash that broke through his void, the energy pierces the very heavens, not only leaving the atmosphere but slashing past the very moon itself. As we peer into the void where the body of Jose resides, being not enough to protect the Kimyo that proclaimed himself to be a god. As Reed sees the results of Shay's slash, absolutely frightened and amazed, he says, "Chairman, you were wrong. If what I'm detecting is correct, you should be able to feel this chi where you are." In utter awe, he can only say, "Contact the moon base immediately. Alert all nations." As chapter ends with the moon cut, while the asteroids are barely being held by its gravity and others hurling towards the planet. Now, this episode has some things I do want to discuss. The first is the Tomas Shay launched in the beginning of the chapter. As we know, Jose estimates that it pulls the opponent towards them while also accelerating itself towards their opponent at 100 meters per second, shifting the very gravity of the area. So when Shay shoots 3 at Jose to make him lose sight of him, one shot, all 3 pulled a portion of Jose's body toward itself, leaving Jose no time to defend, since it was stated that Shay created nuclear reactions through compression of chi. Now, those 3 Tomases did not get any bigger and did not cause any noticeable damage to the enemy. This would lead me to speculate that although his power boost is affecting his attack potency, Shay has still maintained great chi control to the point where his Tomas is near identical to the one that he performed transformed in base form. I do want to talk about the durability of Jose and Shay. Episode 121, we was introduced to the rock hardening technique, where someone could make themselves nearly unbreakable. Based on what Jose said, that this technique is performed by constantly pouring chi into every inch of your body to harden it, leading it to be more of a defensive reinforcement technique of chi rather than being a sensory one that we see with most chi techniques. Jose said that he was not as good at the rock hardening technique as his peers, but can perform it nonetheless. When we see Mahalo talking about Jose had a rebirth form in the previous chapter, he talks about him filling a void with his chi, creating a hide. We know that hides have a natural defense higher than most types. If he fills a void with chi as he resides in it, that would mean his hide will be boosted by the rock hardening technique and reinforced by the shell or armor that will make his Phoenix form, leading that form defense to be multiple times stronger than his base form. When analyzing the beginning of the fight after their initial clash and Shay puts a crater in the building, Jose constantly plays keep away, maintaining his distance, while he bombards Shay with attacks. While the moment Shay grabs his leg, pulling Jose in for a deadly strike with Venter, Jose was forced to use his talent to defend himself. Due to his inexperience, the attack potency of the Kimyo he was facing, and the abundance of chi he has in total, you can easily conclude that Jose's defense was never a factor rather than his maneuverability. When transforming, he completely gave up that mobility for higher attack potency and higher defense, causing him to lose the only advantage he had over Shay, which was speed. Now in regards to Shay, it's a little bit more complicated than using mere rock armor. Mahalil stated in this chapter that once the Thanatos talent was removed, the excess chi has stayed dormant, but did not go to waste since it used its efforts to reinforce the body, making Shay's body as hard as possible compared to the typical Kimyo. When taking a look at the Nanaki fight, Shay was able to endure massive damage and still compete with that Kimyo to some degree. He is stated to have fractures in both clavicles. If you don't know, that's your collarbone, a bruised shoulder socket, severed tissue and muscle scarring, nerve damage in his right hand and to his left optic nerve as well, a chipped rib, several ankle screws, and internal bleeding at that point in the story. All of these injuries before going against Nanaki, and even with 2 broken collarbones, which prevents you from lifting your arms. I know from experience. He was able to muscle through the pain and lift a Kimyo that could have weighed easily 2 times the weight of an average human, once he increased his mass and weight due to ingesting blood and entering the frenzy, meaning that the chi Shay produced but had no access to was the very thing allowing him to compete with the higher tier opponents even then. This statement by Mahalil is a great callback to the first 5 episodes of Ordeal. Now with Shay naturally having an armor, we see this armor come into effect with season 1 when Shay tanks multiple hits from Rokash, a Kimyo within the top 150. Even with the limited training he was provided over the course of those 6 months. A minor note, Rokash himself, although he gave all of his defense to Cass, he was able to tank multiple hits from high ranked talents, even going as far as gripping the flame of Ilios itself. Given his age and the information provided by the world of Kimyos, we can assume that his defense was due to using the rock hardening technique, and when his hide was complete, his defense was that much more powerful, meaning even while repairing Pharaoh's tomb, he was supplying steady amounts, not only the tomb and his hide armor, but his skin as well, going to show why he ran out of chi so fast, and the simple accelerated thrust took him out. Now with Shay naturally having a reinforced body and applying rock skin on top of that, that would give him a similar durability that we see with high base talent state. Now with the another state add on top of that, that would provide him a defense that goes beyond the typical high type, making him nearly unbreakable. We can assume that current Shay is more durable than what we see in Leo in the beginning of season 3. Mahalil stated that Leo channeled his power to manifest weapons. We do see this with Child Leo when he uses a knife from his father figure Jaime to create a great sword. However, due to the amount of chi Shay bodies allows Ilios access, it would not be enough to store and release all of Ilios might at once safely. So having a medium similar to a magnetized rod and allowing Shay chi to act as the coil between both rods to access an even higher tier of Ilios power is perfect. Now we get a different perspective of the way Reed Haven views Shay as being someone who cannot be controlled, with which the cause of this skepticism was foreshadowed back during the events of Shay losing control in episode 112. We do see him express a concerned look on his face once Shay malicious chi is shown. That scene mixed with the power being flaunted before him carelessly, leading him to that assumption. We do see that he has a specialized eye as well, which is reminiscent of a soap. He's also able to tell based on chi alone the moon was destroyed, going to show his senses are top tier as well. What do you guys think that Reed Haven talent would be? In the episode, Milo stops himself stating there is room for more, not specifying how much. Him changing the conversation to dive more into Shay thoughts was also a way of him hiding information from Shay as well. This episode, Ilios states as well that this move is used to slay those who think themselves to be gods named Ilios, sun through moon. We do know regarding the moon, it refracts light from the sun, giving us the light at night, although we regard it as as moonlight. It is still the moon gaining the light from the sun itself. So when Ilios tells him this move is for those deemed false gods, similar to the false light of the moon, it'll unalive the false god, leaving only one true one above all for the creator, all which is represented by the sun portion in the name technique. This leads me to my little next statement, saying that Shay was using his chi as a medium to hide his true chi behind. This chi is regarded as one of Thanatos. We see throughout all of Ordeal that all the high tiers get their information about a target from chi senses, so the fact Thanatos is back and Shay is exuding such chi naturally would cause them to see him more of an enemy than a friend, which could lead KODE to restricting Shay's freedom, not a restriction of imprisonment of Patmos, but using the 4 pillars as a check and balance system to keep Shay angry and power under control. At the time, Brent tells us that Shay has the option to become bigger just like the other vessels of the great talent, but would choose to stay small. Episode 117, as Shay prays, stating, "I have hid the power you gave me up until this point, but if it is your will that it is exposed today, let it be loud." The creator has given Shay the loudest possible answer. He allowed the very power Shay seeks to be enough to slice through the very moon itself. Now, I do want to talk about the art of the chapter, which is phenomenal through and through, but the entire sequence of each Kimyo finding technique between Jose's emotions and desperation is felt and is equally intensified by the amount of dead stars filling the sky. As Jose loses further control of the situation, he not only disregards the mission of transporting the nukes, totally bent on destroying Shay, not only for Thanatos but for himself, similar to Shay's struggle of getting upset because he couldn't easily deal with Jose, even with the gap in power, but due to experience. Jose thinks similar to that, where after killing his son on the accident, how can he make the very world that made him despair feel the same way if he can't be one Kimyo, even if it is a great talent? How can he be justified in that heinous act or other heinous actions, leading him down this path to the point that he may be bested by someone who has not sacrificed nearly as much as him? Whether it was Shay surging his chi or cutting the moon, it is all regarded as top tier section of Ordeal. I want to start a new thing where we do a Kimyo of the week. So for his sacrifice, the ability to analyze and overcome, and one leading the fight of 2 god tier Kimyo, Shay Hart is the Kimyo of the week. The rating for this chapter is a solid 10 out of 10. Anyway, this is all I got for this episode 127 review. Let me know what your thought is about the episode down below. What do you think about the current format of the video? If we are able to give this video 50 likes, since I know I do be releasing it the day the next chapter come out, I will then do my top 5 Kimyo and release it before the very next episode review. It's been the leader of the Cosmic Armada and librarian of KODE Archives. Consider joining the Armada with the bell enabled. See you, Space Cadet.